This past week, we have done our NHL preseason division predictions. So today, we're going to wrap things up by determining our final playoff spots, our Stanley Cup Final prediction, and also throwing in our award predictions as well.
All right, let's get right into our playoff teams. The last day before the NHL official season starts. I'm pumped up. So let's recap our playoff teams that were top three. That we already did. We're not going to talk too much about that, obviously, because make sure you guys check out the preview videos that we have dropped for each division. So for the West, Central, obviously my top three were Dallas, Colorado, Nashville. And then for the Pacific Division, it was Edmonton, Vegas, and the Canucks for me. Those are the six locks.
So Central, I had the same thing, Dallas, Colorado, Nashville. And then the Pacific, I had the same teams, but different order. I had the Oilers winning, then I had the Canucks at second and Vegas at third.
So who are you going with your overall number one in the West?
So my contenders for overall number one in the West, that I'm gonna say Dallas again.
Okay, yeah, same.
Yeah,
I went with Dallas too.
I'm gonna go with Dallas again.
Do you want to say our wild card now, or do you want to say our list for East quickly?
Let's go with the wild card. Let's finish off the West. And my contenders for wild cards are basically the fourth and fifth spots for each division.
Yeah.
The four teams are the Jets, the Kings, the Kraken, and I believe I had some other team in there. I think it was the Blues, I believe, for my contenders for the wildcard spot. And I ultimately picked the seventh seed, which is the first wildcard spot, is going to be the Winnipeg Jets. And my eighth seed, the second wildcard spot, is going to be the LA Kings. So I went with the 2-4.
So for me,
So on with the 4-4
we went
split.
similar. Okay,
Yeah.
so for me, I think the final four were Winnipeg, Seattle, Kings, and Utah. Not quite. Utah.
Yeah.
I was heavily considering Utah, but I gave the edge to Winnipeg as the higher seed, and then Seattle
As the final spot.
As the final spot. I really wanted to say both Central teams, but I'm not high. I'm a little high on the Kraken. So let's see how that goes this year.
You're high on crack?
I said the Kraken, I'm pretty sure.
You
We're
did
on
say-
camera footage.
You did say Kraken, but I'm just
Okay.
had to make that joke.
The Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division for me, this is where we differed a little bit. Boston for me was 1, Florida 2, Toronto 3. The Metro, it was this is where we were the same. Rangers 1, Devils 2, Canes 3.
Yeah, Metro was the same. And then in the Atlantic, I had the Maple Leafs, then I had the Panthers, and then I had the Lightning as my top three. So my wildcard contenders are going to be the Bruins, the Islanders, the Capitals, and the Red Wings, I believe. And at my my number 7 wildcard 1 is going to be the Boston Bruins, and then my number 8 sneaking into the last spot in the wildcard 2 is going to be the Washington Capitals.
Wait, sorry, you said the first one in Boston?
Boston.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Similar route once again. For me, the final four were Capitals, Lightning, Buffalo, and Islanders. I only consider two teams, I'll be honest with you, and that's honestly, I just put this down. Well, I'll just say it in this order too. Washington for me finishes higher, and I put Tampa as making it in. I feel like this one's a little bit more comfortable choice for me, but yeah. So that's our overall playoff teams now, official right there. Comment your wildcard teams down below. Let's get to the Cup Final before we get to these award predictions. So I went with the New York Rangers winning the Stanley Cup. They will beat the Dallas Stars in 7 games.
Okay.
And that facial reaction tells me it's the similar vibe.
We both went Dallas again for the second straight year. But this time I went with more of the younger route. And I went with the Dallas Stars beating the New Jersey Devils.
So you went back Devils high mode.
Yeah. I went back to the Devils.
So why
high mode.
Devils over anyone else in the East?
First of all, I just saw Markstrom play in freaking Europe, and he just made an insane save and put on an absolute spectacular performance. That's a big reason they have their answer at goaltending for this season. They upgraded their defense again. They should be back to just be healthy. Honestly, if they're healthy, I don't have any doubt in my mind that they could make a deep playoff run. In my opinion, and Dallas, I feel like is gonna be.
It's finally their time.
It's good. Yeah, it's about time for Dallas, right? Like these next couple of years, they're gonna have to figure it out. And I feel like they could. Again, they were very close last year. They progressed very well because the year before they were, I think, again another conference final, but weren't really close against when they lost to Vegas. Then last year, again, they choked in the conference final. So let's see if they get over the hump this year. But I feel like each year they did progress well in the playoffs, in my opinion.
You off the Canes bandwagon now?
Yeah, I'm off the Canes bandwagon, man. They lost a lot of pieces. They're still a good team, but they lost a lot of pieces.
Okay, so for me, I went Rangers, and the reason why I went with the Rangers are I just think the continuation from last year is going to be important. For me, the Devils, I feel like is going to be 1 year too early. New coach, and then a couple of new players added as well. Markstrom, I don't like. Obviously, he's not. It's not like he needs to fit on the team. He just needs to make the saves. But because of that, they're still going to be a good team and challenge the Rangers. I feel like the Rangers there were moments where they were up on Florida, right?
Somehow,
somehow,
and actually, not somehow. It was because of Igor.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're saying Markstrom, I'm saying Igor.
Yeah,
and he's on a quote unquote, like we mentioned in the preview, contract proving year as well. And Stars, I'm just like one. I don't know if it's anti-Edmonton of me to do this as a little bit as well, but for me, I feel like I'm gonna give him 1 more year. Let's just say that.
For me personally, I just didn't want to go the boring. I didn't want to go boring route. So like,
I think
my boring final would have been like Edmonton and like the Rangers or something like that, in my opinion. That's why
I feel like if I really had to,
or Vegas and like someone,
I feel like Edmonton is the clear favorite out of the West.
Yeah,
but
100%.
I feel like Dallas can get it done this year. It just depends. I'm betting on an Oettinger bounce back year.
Oh yeah, he needs to play well.
But with that being said, let's get to our award predictions very quickly here. 8 predictions we gotta go through. So let's start off with the best, the Heart.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and if you had any very high consideration for a dark horse, if you want to say that.
Heart again. I feel like you just gotta go basic here until I'm proven otherwise, which is not going to be until this player retires as the winner. But my number 3, I went Nikita Kucherov. Number 2, David Pastrnak, and number 1, Connor McDavid.
So you have Pastrnak, even though you have them 4th.
Goals, baby, goals matter.
Okay, number 3.
Why does that not matter? He's got individual performance. Pastrnak needs
I think they look at the higher seeding as well. Usually, that's
okay. Yeah, so he's at 2. He didn't win.
No, I mean like their team seeding.
Yeah, no, but like Pastrnak didn't win still.
I mean, Kucherov was in consideration last year, to be fair. But,
exactly, yeah. Like, what's the point? Like,
Artemi Panarin for me is number 3. I know he's day to day. Because he's day to day, that's why I'm putting him here. All right. Sorry for the other one. I have the Rangers as the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, Nikita Kucherov.
Not even if I said my 1 seed. I'll probably go the Rangers too, honestly.
2, Nikita Kucherov.
Don't shit on that Pastrnak pick if you're putting Panarin in there.
True.
By the way. I know he has a freaking ranking, but Pastrnak has the more point ability.
No, you should have. If you had any ammo, I had Kucherov in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so that's the one. You can't shit on Panarin, but you could Kucherov one.
What is
sure.
this, yo?
But Nikita Kucherov, the main offense there, right? Do at least play make for sure. So he's gonna be consideration there. I was considering McKinnon, but I feel like voter fatigue could happen with that one after 1 year.
Exactly with Pastrnak, his made offensive output on that team as well.
And Connor McDavid is obviously the number 1.
Yeah, like that does not need to be talked about.
I don't think they'll have a bad year. That's the main reason why. Let's get to goals.
Okay, so
Rocket Richard. First question: Alexander Ovechkin, is he getting 41 goals? Which did you consider him to put him in here because of that?
No, I mean 41 doesn't really get you top 3 anymore in these days as well. But I did go with a little bit throwback in the Rocket. And my number 3, I went with the old guy who recently switched teams, Steven Stamkos.
Okay, so you're going bold.
I went bold there just because let's see how much he's going to prove. Try to get revenge on Tampa Bay, a revenge year for him.
Yeah.
In terms of how his contract was handled. Number 2, Austin Matthews is basic. I mean, he's going to be top 2 just because he's top 2. And number 1, the reason why I have Pastrnak at number 2 in freaking Heart is because I think he will lead the league in goals this year.
So I went number 3, Jake Gensel. So
damn.
I mean, he's in
you went with a replacement
because like Nikita Kucherov is passing him the puck, and he's a proven goal scorer. So I feel like he will help produce numbers that way as well. Number 2, I went with David Pastrnak. Again, like you said, he's going to be the main goal scoring guy, and he has a better center with him this year, in my opinion, and Elias Lindholm. See, I feel like Matthews is the obvious number 1 for me. But
then there's always this thing where like he just
goes up and down. I get it,
like, but not even down, but like he wins it, then next year he loses, like doesn't win it, and then the year after he wins it, type of thing.
I went with Austin Matthews though because I feel like he's in that Ovechkin era right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Like
that's what. But again, I don't think Pasternak's a bad shout. But I'm just saying, I just feel like Matthews is like the McDavid of goal scorers at this point of his career. But Art Ross, I'll go first this time. Nikita Kucherov is my number 3. Artemi Panarin is number 2. Again, assuming he's out long term. It said day to day. Number 1, very obvious, Connor McDavid.
Yeah. Number 3, I went with Nathan McKinnon. Just off the list, I had David Pastrnak. Number 2, I went with Kucherov. Number 1, I went with Connor McDavid. Obviously, like.
All right, so this is where the fun ones happen.
Yes.
So let's go with the Vezina, and I had a couple of dark horses.
Bro, I went bold for my 3 spot at least.
Okay, so for I was considering Ottinger. He's not on here. Was obviously considering I forgot honestly at this point, but number 3, I went Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah.
Especially after that performance today too, but in general. But I just felt like for the Devils to be good, he has to be a factor in it. So he has to be finally rightfully considered in the top 3 for the Vezina. Number 2, I went with Igor Shesterkin. Like, you have to. For me, number 1, I went with UC Soros.
Okay.
So because like Nashville's gonna be good, I feel like he got the new contract. He's gonna be leading that team from the goalie side of things.
So here's a funny thing. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna say my number 3.
Okay.
Really bold.
Okay.
Really, really bold. It really depends on this guy's healthy and if he does get more a bulk of the games. But if he does, I feel like he'll be in this conversation.
Order Shiloh's?
Logan Thompson.
Okay. I was like, are you going biased?
No, I'm not going biased mode. Logan Thompson, recently the newly acquired Washington goaltender. Obviously, he's gonna have it's him and Lindgren, good goalie tandem, and I believe that they should do split games for this guy's health's sake. But what I saw for this guy in like games 1, 2, 3 in the playoffs in the first round was absolutely incredible. And I feel like even the year where he did get injured and Aiden Hill stepped in for them to win the cup, I believe Logan Thompson was in Vezina conversations then too. So he has the capability of being that bona fide number 1 goalie.
Just the health.
Obviously, just the main thing is the health. And number 2, I went with UC Soros. And number 1, I went with Igor Shesterkin again.
So you didn't really go bold to finish it off.
No, I said bold for number 3.
Okay. Norris. In my dark horse here was Adam Fox and Quinn Hughes. So I did not put Quinn Hughes as my finalist as much as I wanted to. Because once again, the Nashville hype for me is real. So Roman Josi for me is number 3. For me, number 2 is Cale Makar. I think he's gonna bounce back this year as well. He's probably gonna be more healthy to that standard as well. And then even though he was number 2 last year, to be fair, number 1, like I said about the Dallas Stars with the Stanley Cup, Miro Heiskanen, I think it's his year. Finally, I feel like all these elite defensemen have won. He's the only one, in my opinion, that's remaining from getting the award, and I feel like it should be his year this year. Hopefully, they look at the defensive side, the game equally as the offensive production as well.
Yeah.
In general.
Look, I'm a dark horse guy in this conversation. I am high on the Red Wings. Honestly, I didn't put him in the top 3. Like, I didn't consider it, but Mo Seider, I feel like could have a shout at it this year.
Yeah.
But again, Heiskanen is not in my top 3 as well. Number 3, I went with Quinn Hughes. Number 2, I went with Cale Makar. And number 1, like you said, the Nashville hype, I went with Roman Josi.
So you want Josi to win?
Yeah, I went Josi to win. He has won one, I think, like a few years ago, but this guy's always been in the conversation.
Yeah.
Like in the last 2-3 years. So like, honestly, it won't surprise me if he gets it this year as well.
No, like honestly, like all the names we said, they're considered like a dark horse, like ultimate dark horse is like you said, Mo Seider. You could put a guy like Noah Dobson in there. You could put obviously Evan Bouchard, depending on the year he has as well. But
Rasmus Dahlin could be a shout.
Rasmus Dahlin, newly named captain there as well. So let's go on to the Selke, and I went number 3, Nico Hischier. As long as he's healthy, he's one of the best defensive forwards in the game, and he'll be there. Number 2, Elias Lindholm. And obviously, I have Boston winning the conference. I said Rangers. I meant to say Boston then. And I feel like he's going to be a big factor. People forget how good of a defensive center he is, and he showed that in the playoffs with the Canucks last year, and he's playing alongside Pastrnak as well overall, and he will be the shutdown guy there. Number 1, I'm going to go boring. It's Alexander Barkov. I feel like it's his award after... like it was the Datsuk era, then it was the Bergeron era. Now I feel like it's going to be the Barkov era for a little bit.
So, number 3 is the only difference we have on this list. And number 3...
So you actually went Lindholm. Okay, I was wondering if you did.
Number 3, I went with JT Miller.
I guess he has a little bias to that one.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people in this conversation. Yeah, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, obviously Lindholm, Barkov, Hischier, Marner, Matthews. All these guys are in the conversation as well. But I went with JT Miller because... reason why
he's
I went
the main guy.
Yeah, he's the main guy on the Canucks as the shutdown line. He's the main guy usually centering the pairing more than Elias Pettersson. Number 2, again, Lindholm, and number 1, Barkov, like you said. Lindholm is going to have the main responsibility. And then obviously, like you said, is Barkov's era right now. And in my opinion, he should be able to win the next few in as well.
All right, these next two ones are very interesting. The Calder. I didn't know Logan Stankoven was still going to be considered a rookie, but I guess he is because the games played thing as well because he came late into the year. He's not my finalist though, but I saw a post where he's a potential winner for some people, but he was one of my dark horses. But I went with Cutter Gauthier as my number 3, with Anaheim there. Number 2, I went with Matvei Michkov. I think that's the obvious one. Everybody said he was literally the next guy after Bedard if it wasn't for the whole KHL stuff, and maybe some people think he's better than a Macklin Celebrini in terms of talent, but number 1 I went with Macklin Celebrini. I feel like he's somewhat getting hit on based on all the predictions I've been seeing, so for that I'm going with Vancouver's own Macklin Celebrini to win the Calder.
Number 3 I went with Macklin Celebrini. Again, number 1 overall pick. He has
the hype and everything.
He has the hype. He has this he has the squad in terms of he is going to be the main guy to shine this year in San Jose. Number 2, again, I went with Stankoven. He got great experience last year, so it's going to give him a little bit of advantage coming to this year. And he played really well last year as well. And number 1, I went with the Russian guy, Matvei Michkov.
I won't be surprised. Like I said,
I
want to say one thing about Cutter Gauthier very quickly before we go to the Jack Adams. I feel like this guy's going to be motivated with all the stuff that happened last year.
Motivated, but it's also put up and shut up, right?
That too, right? So that's the motivating factor for him because he has no other choice. Otherwise, he's
this guy is a freaking guy who hasn't played in the NHL started calling his shots.
Yeah.
Right. And then
he's
obviously to do that, yeah. But I went with his replacement, Michkov, to win.
Wait, his replacement?
Replacement. No, yeah, basically, he left. Obviously, Drysdale on the defensive side. So, on the offensive side, Michkov comes in.
Okay. But, because Philly. I was like, what do you... I forgot about that part. But ended off, Jack Adams. For me, this has always kind of been a narrative award, more so than, the best record award. But for that reason, number 3, I went with Dan Bylsma because I have them making the playoffs, and he has to be in consideration for it.
Yeah.
Number 2, I went with Sheldon Keefe. Again, Rangers are supposed to be a bounce back. And the Devils are supposed to be a bounce back team, and a lot of that is going to be either his style, plus it helps that when you have a good goalie, you never apologize for having a good goalie on your team now. Number 1, Chris Knoblauch. Again, I think I have Edmonton being motivated from game 1 this time, and when Knoblauch came in last year, I feel like he could have been in consideration to win it on his tenure, and I feel like he'll get the award this year.
So on my list, obviously, I want to put Craig Berube in there.
Because you have Toronto winning first.
But I didn't. Keith was also a shout. But number 3, I went with Spencer Carberry from the Washington Capitals. Again, a playoff. If he honestly could have been in conversation last year with the late run he went on. And I think I'm pretty confident the Capitals will put together a solid season from start to end. Right? Obviously, they'll still be in the mix of fighting for the last playoff spot, in my opinion. But I feel like, Carberry deserves some credit. Number 2, I went with Knoblauch. Again, Edmonton winning division. He did an incredible job last year. He's going to have a full year this year. And number 1, I went with, again, the Nashville hype. And I went with Andrew Burnett.
Yeah, I was considering all those guys. All these guys are equal consideration for me. But, yeah, we'll end it right there. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys comment down below your Stanley Cup winner. Make sure you guys check out all our division previews so you guys know the details, what we think of each team in those division. Make sure you guys click our tier list video popping up right now and another video popping up as well. Hit that subscribe button, hit the post notification bell because we drop NFL, NBA content is also coming soon and NHL content for you guys multiple times a week as well. Follow our socials link down below and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.